So the last thing we want to do is, because this is basically just an After Effects project, I want to make this available to be used by, either the people in master control that are running live clips, or, if I want to run it into a piece of NLE software. So what I have to do is I have to, render this out to a format that they can use. So the key to doing this is you got to get back to that master project panel, and you got to make sure you select your master composition. Now again, make sure that you deselect everything first, and then just select the master composition, because that's what I want to send to be rendered. If I don't have that selected, and I have something else selected in this project panel, well then that's what's going to get rendered, and that's not necessarily the whole project. So now when I've got that selected, I'm going to go composition, and what I want to do is I want to go add to render queue, which is now going to take this project and put it into the render queue, which opens up down on the timeline. Now I'm going to basically hit that quirky little key there that has a squiggly line under the escape key to go full screen on this window. Hopefully it will let me. It's not going to let me. That's okay. It's not all that important. But in here, what I can do now is, once I get a little more familiar with these things, this is basically where you can go in here and you can make choices about how you want to render that out. And I don't really want to get into too much detail on this. There's only really one thing I need you to kind of wrap your head around here, is the output module where it says lossless. What you got to be careful of is it is in a QuickTime by default, but it's in what's called an animation format. And an animation format is not a video friendly codec. The frame rate's just way too high. So what I have to do is I have to go into format options here. And what I want to do is I want to change that from animation to something that's a little more video friendly. Usually there's, things like Apple ProRes are video friendly. Most of these ones, again, depending on whether you're in Europe or North America, PAL is a European standard. There's also a 24 frame standard, which is something you don't really find that much with DV NTSC. But if you stick with the ProRes, you're pretty safe, because this isn't a high def, like it isn't 16 by 9. I don't need to use Apple ProRes 4. I'm just going to use a Apple ProRes 422. I could use HQ or just regular 422. It really isn't that big of a deal, because all I really want to do at this point is I just want to make sure that I've got that set to a setting that is going to basically be video friendly. So by having that setting there, it's going to allow me to change that. So make sure you change that to a video friendly setting. The audio you really don't have to worry about, because it's not really that big of a deal. And click OK just to update that. You can see it changed my format options in there. It's now Apple ProRes 422. That's cool. The last thing I want to do, see, it says output 2, it says not yet specified. See, what I have to do is I should do two things. First off, I want to tell it where to put that file when it's done rendering, and I can also change the name of it, right? Destination is basically the name being used by the master composition, and I could leave that, and that's fine. But what I really don't want to do is I don't want it going into the folder it's going into now. So that's where I have to go to my desktop, and what I got to do is I got to find my master folder, and basically open that sucker up. And what I can do now is I can go in here, and I want to put it in the right folder. So remember, the right folder is sample movie, right? So you want to make sure you get it to go into sample movie. And it's being a bit of again, this is the whole Splashtop issue that is unfortunate, but that's where it really should go. Right now it's saying desktop, but what I really want it to do is I want it to go into my sample movie folder, and it's just being a bit of a problem child right now. But with any luck, I can get it to go in there. So make sure it's going into sample movie. Yeah, sure, pal. Anyways, I'll just hit save right now, and then I'll just double check it to make sure yeah, it's not going to go in there. And this is just a little problem that it's just a splash top thing, to be brutally honest with you, just so you know. But anyways, make sure at this point it's going to go to the desktop. That's fine. I can move it. The only thing I have to do now is hit the render button. And because it's not a very long piece of project, it's going to render. You hit a little magic wand, and that means basically that file has been rendered. So now I can go in and I can actually watch a little video of my little movie that I just made, and it's probably on the desktop here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change that view to scaled size and look, and there it is. There's my little movie. So you see, yeah. So what's happened is it's basically kind of just doing some wacky stuff here. So what I want to make sure is I want to make sure I deselect stuff. But anyways, just to watch that, there is my finished movie that I just made, and yeah. So if you get into problems like this, just basically take that movie file and put it in the right folder. So again, I'm just going to take it and put it into the sample movie folder. Just manually drag it and put it in there. And that should be okay. So, just make sure everything's going into the right folders. And again, when you're using Splashtop, expect to have some funky little stuff. And if you get stuff that's gone in there that you don't want to go in there, then that's fine. You just delete it out of there. So yeah, that's the end of today's lesson.